Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. You are not on this earth to play petty games with people who never believed in you in the first place. You're not here to chase down every doubter, every hater, every ex who left, every boss who underestimated you, every family member who spoke curses behind your back. That is not your assignment. That is not your mission. That is not your purpose. You are wasting your most powerful currency, your time, trying to prove them wrong. And let me tell you what nobody else will. The moment you start focusing on proving them wrong, you stop proving yourself right. That's where people get it twisted. See, success isn't about revenge. It's about revelation. It's about revealing to yourself who you truly are when you shut out the noise, when you cut the cord to external validation, when you stop living for their reaction and start living from your vision. You're climbing a mountain, not to shout back down to your critics, but to see what's on the other side. Every minute you spend trying to convince people that you're valuable, that you're smart, that you're talented, is a minute you've handed over your power. They already told you what they think. They already wrote you off. Why are you still auditioning for people who never had the eyes to see you? That's not strength. That's insecurity wrapped in ambition. See, I know how this game works. I've seen people lose their whole life chasing applause from folks who left the theater years ago. You're screaming into a crowd that's not even watching anymore. You're dressing for people who walked away. You're hustling to impress ghosts. And while you're doing that, life is quietly slipping through your fingers. Let me remind you, purpose doesn't need an audience, vision doesn't need permission, and destiny doesn't wait for applause. Some of you are stuck in cycles, not because you're weak, but because you're distracted. You're distracted by revenge, distracted by pride, distracted by proving a point. And while you're trying to prove them wrong, you're neglecting the only person you need to prove right, yourself. Your purpose doesn't care about your enemies. Your destiny doesn't factor in your doubters. Look around. How many dreams have died because someone was too busy looking back instead of forward? That business you were going to start, delayed because you're still scrolling your ex's new relationship, wondering if they miss you. That book you were going to write, sitting in your drafts because you're waiting for the people who laughed at your first attempt to come back and beg for a signed copy. That dream you carry, still locked up because you're too focused on posting proof instead of building progress. You're wasting divine energy trying to be petty when God has called you to be powerful. Let me break it down for you. You don't get elevation by carrying dead weight, and people who don't believe in you, that's dead weight. Let them go. I'm not saying don't succeed. I'm saying succeed for the right reasons. Succeed because you believe you were born for more. Succeed because it heals your lineage. Succeed because it opens doors for your children. Succeed because it honors the fight your ancestors endured just so you could have a shot. But don't you dare succeed just to get back at somebody. They're not worth your purpose. And while you're chasing after them, someone else is out there, quiet, focused, hungry, building something real, not for claps, not for likes, but because they refuse to leave this earth with their potential still inside them. That's who you should be, because greatness is not loud. It's not vengeful. It doesn't walk into a room looking to flex. Greatness walks in and the room adjusts, because greatness doesn't chase approval. It moves with certainty. You've got to get so rooted in your calling that silence doesn't shake you, so grounded in your vision that rejection doesn't reroute you, so focused on your mission that betrayal doesn't break you. Let the people talk, let them watch, let them laugh. None of that can stop what's in motion when God puts his hand on your life, but you can stop it. You can sabotage it. You can delay it. Every time you take your eyes off the prize to throw shade at someone in the cheap seats, you lose momentum. Every time you let offense anchor you, you lose time. That's the thing they don't tell you. You don't lose to failure. You lose to distraction. You don't lose to your critics. You lose to the fact that you gave them your focus. Stop letting broken people pull you into their mess just to keep you from building your masterpiece. You don't need to clap back. You don't need to post receipts. You don't need to go back and fix their perception. Let them misunderstand you. Let them underestimate you. That's their loss. Your job, build. Your job, rise. Your job, stay laser focused on your assignment. Because while they're watching your every move, you're supposed to be making moves that shift generations, not updates for strangers. Legacy doesn't need validation. You've got power they never saw, ideas they never imagined, endurance they never gave you credit for. And yet here you are, still standing. That's the only proof you need. Don't argue. Don't prove. Don't explain. Elevate. When you rise, the truth speaks for itself. Understand this. Your greatest revenge is peace. Your loudest flex is joy. Your most undeniable weapon is discipline. Stay in your lane. Master your craft. Guard your mind. And stop trying to win people who already decided to lose you. The minute you stop chasing applause, you gain focus. The moment you stop trying to prove, you start to move. There's a whole new world on the other side of your discipline. There's a peace waiting for you in the place of purpose. But you won't find it in petty wars. You won't find it in arguments. You won't find it in Instagram captions or revenge plots. You'll find it in quiet consistency. In the early mornings you rise before the world. In the late nights you build while they sleep. In the choices you make when no one is watching. In the courage to walk alone when no one is clapping. That's where real power lives. So if they counted you out, good. That means you were never for them. That means you were always meant to outgrow them. If they doubted you, let that be their burden to carry, not yours. You are not here to prove them wrong. You are here to become everything right for the calling over your life. Time is too short. Energy is too precious. Purpose is too powerful. So stop wasting your brilliance on battles that don't build you. They laughed. Let them. You work. They walked away. Let them. You walk forward. They doubted you. Good. You believe harder, because while they're watching, you're working. While they're sleeping, you're grinding. While they're gossiping, you're growing. And one day they'll look up and it won't be you shouting back, "I told you so." It'll be you, silent, successful, and soaring too high to hear them anymore. Let me tell you what happens when you finally stop trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. Your soul exhales. The war inside you goes quiet, because deep down, you've always known you were never created for the crowd. You were carved for a calling. You start to realize that not everyone has the capacity to see your vision. And that's okay. Some people were assigned to witness your beginning, not your arrival. Some only had the emotional bandwidth for your struggle, not your rise. You have to bless them and leave them, because every time you delay your growth for someone else's comfort, you shrink your own destiny. You don't need another conversation to clarify. You don't need one more "let's meet up and talk about what happened." You're not obligated to revisit every offense, re-explain your decisions, or replay the past to people who already chose their version of the story. Closure is not a group project. Growth demands silence. It requires solitude. And sometimes your breakthrough only comes after you stop talking. Some of you are standing in doorways that were already closed, knocking on people's approval, praying they'll see your worth, when you should be turning around and walking into rooms that were built for you, where your name opens the door, not your explanation. Because people who are truly meant to be part of your purpose won't need convincing. You are not a campaign. You are a calling, and your value doesn't rise or fall based on who supports you. It is intrinsic, unshakable, eternal. You're wasting sacred energy trying to make temporary people play permanent roles in a story they were never cast to carry. Some people are not toxic. They're just expired. And if you keep sipping old milk, don't be surprised when your spirit gets sick. So stop resurrecting connections God already buried. Stop giving CPR to relationships that flatlined when your purpose started breathing. When your mind is set on destiny, You stop being obsessed with loyalty to dysfunction, and you start becoming loyal to your future. It takes courage to walk away without clapping back. It takes strength to remain silent when provoked. But that silence, that's not weakness. That's power under control. You're not walking away because you're scared. You're walking away because you're done letting people rent space in your mind without paying purpose as rent. Now, you start proving, you start building, you start explaining, you start becoming, because greatness doesn't explain itself, it just is. It just is. There is a silence that comes over you when you've truly made peace with the fact that some people will never understand what drives you. Not because you're too complicated, but because they're too comfortable. Comfort never comprehends ambition. And that's exactly why your vision seems excessive to people who stop dreaming. You can't expect stagnant minds to grasp movement. You can't share blueprints with people who've never built anything of value. You can't expect applause from spectators who've never stood where you're standing, at the edge of becoming, carrying the weight of a dream, daring to do something bigger than yourself. Some of the most dangerous distractions come dressed as concern. Are you sure this is realistic? What if it doesn't work out? Maybe you should be more patient. They'll question your pace, not because you're moving too fast, but because they're still standing still. They'll cloak their doubt in politeness. But make no mistake, hesitation dressed up as advice is still fear. You've got to develop the discipline to separate insight from insecurity, even when it's coming from people you love, especially that, because your future can't be built on foundations cracked by borrowed fears. It demands steel in your spine, clarity in your mind, and fire in your chest. The kind of fire that doesn't negotiate with resistance. It burns right through it. That's what it takes to birth something the world has never seen. That's what it takes to answer the calling most people are too afraid to acknowledge. That's what it takes to build a life that doesn't just look good but feels right. But let me tell you something that nobody else will. Sometimes the price of stepping into alignment is losing people who only liked you unaligned. They loved you when you were unsure. They related to you when you played small. They were comfortable when your dreams were still in your mouth, not your hands. But now that you're building, now that your schedule is full of progress and not performance, now that your priorities have shifted and your peace is non-negotiable, now they're quiet, distant, offended, undebatable. Let them go. Every new chapter will cost you something. Sometimes it's old habits. Sometimes it's access. Sometimes it's entire relationships that can't survive the altitude of your elevation. You see, you were never meant to carry everyone. You were meant to carry purpose. And when purpose becomes your compass, opinions stop being your map. You'll feel the freedom the day you finally realize you don't need everyone to believe in the dream. You just need to stop waiting for them to catch. Your results will come from repetition, not revenge. From mastery, not manipulation. From structure, not spite. This is the era of your life where you no longer move out of emotion, but out of execution. You don't wake up hoping to feel motivated. You wake up trained to be consistent. You don't show up to impress. You show up because your word to yourself is stronger than any distraction. You're not building for noise. You're building for longevity. Your name will echo not because it was shouted, but because it was etched into history through relentless, quiet, consistent work. And here's something else. You will not be celebrated at first. They won't clap in the beginning. The first phase of transformation is isolation. The second is misunderstanding. The third is momentum. You will be talked about. You will be misread. You will be underestimated. But you keep showing up anyway. You keep refining your gifts anyway. You keep showing up with excellence, integrity, and discipline, even if it takes years before the world takes notice. Because real visionaries don't build for attention. They build for impact. And impact has no expiration date. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It matters how well you finish. You've got to become obsessed with the process, with the late nights that no one sees, with the early mornings that separate the mediocre from the masterful, with the moments of doubt you overcome not by quitting but by recommitting. That's where the greatness is carved, not in the crowd, in the quiet. And when you learn to love that silence, you become unstoppable. because now you're no longer fueled by approval. You're powered by mission, and mission-driven people move differently. They don't chase, they attract. They don't explain, they embody. They don't prove, they perform. Let others post quotes, you be the example. Let others debate the grind, you demonstrate it. Let others talk about becoming, you live it breath by breath, choice by choice, morning by morning. You'll know you've evolved when you no longer seek to be remembered. You seek to be effective. When being unseen doesn't discourage you, it strengthens you. When you begin to protect your time like treasure, because you finally understand that every wasted second is a stolen step away from the future you're building. Your purpose isn't waiting for them to come around. Your calling isn't postponed until they believe in you. It's active, alive, demanding your full attention. And the more you give it your focus, the less room you have for nonsense. You'll start to notice how clear things become. Who drains you? Who feeds you? What environments ignite you? What habits destroy you? What disciplines rebuild you? It's like cleaning a foggy mirror. Suddenly, the image staring back isn't just potential. It's power, it's clarity. It's you unfiltered, unshaken, unmoved by distraction. That's when everything changes, because the person who stops needing the world's permission becomes the person the world can't ignore. You don't have to scream to be heard. You don't have to fight to be seen. You just have to own your lane so completely that silence becomes your strategy and excellence becomes your voice. So as they gossip, you grow. As they speculate, you sow. As they delay, you decide. Because every move you make from this moment forward, it's not about ego, it's not about revenge, and it's not about this. It's about you fulfilling the assignment placed in your hands before anyone ever had an opinion about your worth. And let that be the fuel, not the need to prove, the need to become. Because when you become, you won't need to say a word. Your life will tell the whole story. There comes a point when you realize that elevation demands emotional detachment, not from your purpose, but from the noise that keeps trying to dilute it. Because not every reaction deserves a response, not every battle deserves your sword, and not every comment is worth the power of your focus. At this level, focus is currency, and attention is territory. Whatever claims your attention controls your direction. So if they can keep you focused on proving them wrong, they don't even need to block you. You'll detour yourself. You'll exhaust your creativity, not building but reacting. You'll waste your potential, not progressing but posturing. You'll lose momentum, not because you lack the skill, but because you fed the wrong fire. The fire to impress, the fire to clap back, the fire to showcase your wins to the very people who walked away while you were bleeding. But here's the deeper truth. You don't owe anyone a performance, especially not the people who never stayed for the rehearsal. You don't owe them access to the masterpiece your pain helped you paint. You don't owe them a tour of the palace you built after they left you in ruins. In fact, the real glow-up isn't even about success. It's about becoming so whole, so complete, so unfazed by their silence or sarcasm, that your peace becomes louder than their absence. That's when you know you've truly won. Not when they regret leaving, but when their presence or lack of it no longer holds emotional leverage in your life. You've got to understand that the most dangerous form of sabotage isn't hatred, it's distraction disguised as validation. You'll catch yourself pausing your purpose just to check who's watching, who's liking, who's finally admitting they were wrong. But by the time they realize your worth, you should be unreachable, not out of spite, but because growth built a distance they can no longer cross. Elevation naturally creates separation. Stop trying to close the gap. Let the distance speak. Let your consistency echo in places where your presence is no longer required. Because when you're really walking in destiny, you'll notice something. The higher you climb, the quieter it gets. The applause fades, the noise dies down, the audience thins out, but so does the confusion, so does the pressure, so do the illusions. At the top, it's just you and the work. And that's where real power lives, not in who notices, but in what you build when no one's looking. You've got to become dangerous in the dark, masterful in silence, focused when forgotten, not because it feels good, but because it's necessary, because the dream you're carrying is not waiting for a highlight reel. It's waiting for the discipline most people avoid. You don't need closure, you need clarity. You don't need recognition, you need routine. You don't need validation, you need vision. The moment you shift from proving mode to purpose mode, everything changes. Your decisions sharpen, your circle tightens, your distractions evaporate, your power activates. Now you're no longer playing for applause. You're playing for alignment. You're building something they can't cancel. You're becoming someone they can't replace. And you're walking a path no one else can copy because it wasn't made from envy. It was carved through endurance. The nights you cried, brick. The days you doubted, cement. The moments you wanted to quit but didn't, steel beams. You've been building with every battle, and they don't even know it. They thought they left you behind. What they really did was set you free. Free from performing, free from explaining, free from needing to be understood by people who only ever saw you through the lens of their own limitations. And now that you're free, it's time to execute, not with emotion, with precision, not with resentment, with excellence. Because at this point, vengeance is too cheap a reward for your kind of greatness. You're not here to flex. You're here to fulfill every ounce of untapped genius in you, to fulfill the call that's haunted you at night and whispered your name when no one else did, to fulfill the promise you made to yourself in the dark when nobody else was watching, that you would never again dim your light to make others comfortable. Because comfort is where dreams go to die. And you're not here to die. You're here to disrupt, to rewrite the story, to walk into rooms they never thought you'd enter, not with arrogance, but with authority. And let me tell you something, there's a difference. Arrogance begs to be noticed. Authority walks in and changes the temperature. You don't have to prove you belong anymore. You just have to act like you do. Command the space, honor your preparation. Stop waiting for permission to step fully into your brilliance. They can't give you what you were born with, so take up space. Speak the vision, move with integrity, guard your mind like a fortress. And remember this, you are not difficult, you are detailed, you are not too much, you are meticulous, you are not overreaching, you are expansive. They couldn't handle your blueprint, so they tried to shrink your identity, but no more. You're done reducing your voice for rooms that echo insecurity. You're done softening your glow for people addicted to shadows. You're done bending backward to fit frames that were never built for your dimension. You're not wasting another minute trying to be palatable. Your purpose was never supposed to be digestible. It was supposed to be undeniable. Let the ones who get it, get it. Let the ones who don't, miss it. You were not called to be comprehended. You were called to be carried by vision, by discipline, by divine timing. So build what they laughed at, design what they dismissed, speak what they tried to silence, and don't look back